stock. So if you're publicly listed, then you need to be extra careful about these phishing attacks. For example, someone who just knows your company name could just go on Google and type the most important people at your company, and they would find some pictures of some C-level guys. C-level guys like to go fishing, they like to go on safari, on holiday, and they can dig down further. Now they've seen this person's name, Michael Jackson, so they go to LinkedIn and find out more about his position as a CFO, is the one who can transfer funds. And on LinkedIn, it shows you people who are related to this person, who probably work with him, or profiles are also viewed when they view him. There's John Smith, who's a payable coordinator at the same company. Obviously, John Smith will probably report to Michael, and they go to John Smith's account, and it shows his in invoicing processing. So this is the kind of person who could authorize payment and transfer. And from that, they can spoof an email from Michael Jackson to John Smith. There's a payment for a consultant, and Michael asked John to do something quickly because they're going public with the IPO, and asked him not to discuss with anyone else, to keep it to himself. So John responded, I'm available, which account is it for? And Michael sends this account to John. It's not Michael's account number, it's Henry Morgan. The account number is given, the routing number is given, the amount is given, and quickly, John receives but doesn't respond, and now Michael has to pressure him, asking, did you send the payment yet? And all of that. How about now? Eventually, Michael has to give in, and he sends the money across. The attack is successful. The hacker caches that money, and by the time John resumes on Monday, he would find a query on why money was sent, and there was no explanation given. And after sending this is the kind of headlines you will see about your organization, because you can't keep these kind of things to yourself. You have stakeholders who want to know what happened to their money over the weekend. So back in the real world, we've seen cases where there have been attacks on Portuguese banks, there have been attacks on manufacturing firms, and in cases where people actually send as much as 500,000 euros to the hackers. So how do we stop this? As we can see so far, phishing attacks usually come when an employee responds to a phishing email, mostly through phishing emails. So how can we identify these employees, and how can we stop them from falling victims to these kind of attacks? Firstly, there's a fake domain. This domain usually looks like, for example, Google could be, instead of O, it could be 0. Gmail could be, instead of L, it could be 1. So they could use all kinds of ways to mimic your domain, to make it look like your own domain. So your users just look at it and just assume, oh, it's coming from my boss, or it's coming from my colleague in the office. So we have a solution. We have solutions for email anti-domain spoofing. For social engineering, there's really no tool in the world to stop social engineering attacks. The only tool that we currently know is education. So we need to educate our users on social media activities and how they should treat everything with suspicion, especially when it involves payment, it involves favors that are urgent, or it involves sharing credentials, passwords, login usernames, and the rest of that. So for phishing emails, we have email protection, we have web protection, we have mobile protection, and we also have sandboxing to be able to capture the ransomware payloads that usually come from phishing attacks. Then finally, for transfer or exploit, we have, firstly, we can educate your users using our phish threat tool, which I will show you a demo of after this presentation. And we also have an Anti Exploit and Anti Ransomware from Intercept X to prevent exploits on your system after there's been a compromise. Mind you, there's really no user who goes out there to say, today I'm looking for ransomware to download, or I'm looking to defraud my company, or I'm looking to transfer money to a fraudulent guy. Usually done by mistake, and it's done out of ignorance. So that's why we need to cure the ignorance of our colleagues, of our users as IT teams. It's our task to ensure that everyone in the organization is informed to be able to detect this kind of attacks. So Sophos has several weapons of mass prevention, from live threat updates, and we also block malicious attachments, content and URLs using web filtering, and our web gateway email protection as well. We have anti-spoofing for email protection. We have URL filtering. We have malware sandboxing to ensure that we catch zero-day attacks. And of course, we have what we call time-of-click URL prevention. For example, if someone spoofs your domain name, like changes some of the alphabets and sends an email to your organization, and because it's a new domain, it won't be profiled by most security threat detection teams. So it will come as a clean email. But at the time that your users are clicking on that email, Sophos solution will actually check that website to see if it's a fraudulent one and block your employees from actually clicking this URL. So we also have attack simulation to simulate attacks, phishing attacks to users. We can train users, we can test them, we can drill them to ensure that they understand phishing attacks and how to spot them. And we can also do reporting, so you can follow up on who has clicked on links and emails, who has entered their credentials, repeat offenders, and the rest of that. We can do that with a tool called Fish Threat that we will demo after this presentation. And finally, this is the last line of defense. That's the Intercept X to prevent Anti Exploit and Anti Ransomware. Because if they are not stealing, if they're not asking you to transfer money, they're mostly trying to encrypt your important files and then asking you to pay a ransom so that they can decrypt your files for you. So in this case, we have Intercept X to offer you the last line of defense. So by protecting the weakest link, who are the users, you're able to stop the threats at the door before they get in. So if you have email protection, 99% of unwanted email will be removed at the gateway before they get into your network. So you can reduce the attack surface if you have email protection on your network. We can also protect your weakest link by educating them using a phish threat solution. It's an advanced attack simulation and training platform to reduce your largest attack surface, which are your end users and who happen to also be your weakest link. So no matter how much you spend on IT security, you can spend a lot of money on firewalls, on antivirus, on email protection, and the rest of that. If you don't educate your users about phishing attacks, social engineering attacks, they're more likely to fall victim of this kind of attack, especially when they're out of the office and working with their mobile phones or traveling on vacation. We still need to ensure that they're educated and they're able to identify these kind of tricks when they see them. And last line of defense, we have Intercept X to provide anti-ransomware, anti-exploit, and also to give you visibility and full root cause analysis into how an attack came on your network, which processes the attack interacted with, and which user was responsible for those kind of attacks. I'll show you the phish threat demo at the end of the slides. So on our XG firewall, this is the XG firewall at the network side. You can see this is a dashboard that the admin sees when you log in at the GUI. The most important part of this is the risky users part. That's the fourth part. You can see the UTQ side. The UTQ is the user threat quotient. It basically profiles all of the users on your network and what they're doing. And if there's any user that's doing something risky, it profiles that user also on this part of the screen. So you can immediately log in and see which users are the risky users on your network. And by profiling every user, no matter how they log onto the network, be it from VPN or from a clientless device or from the web client or Radios or Android, it will profile every user, and then you can tie this profile to an actual human being, to an actual person. So if there's any breach or there's any activity that could result in a breach, you'll be able to detect it from your firewall. So this is what you see when you walk into the office every day as an IT admin or IT security administrator. You see everyone dressed, corporate in their suit and ties, but deep down, this is what the firewall sees. It sees everyone actually for who they are. So you can see the users for who they are, the ones who love sports, the ones who love gambling, the ones who love music. You can see all of this from, so you can see everyone for who they are. This is what they actually look like. This is what the firewall XG firewall sees not just someone who's dressed in tie, who's working on a web application on SharePoint, or just sending the emails. We actually see exactly what every single user is doing, whether they have a VPN, they're tunneling traffic through, or they're encrypting traffic using HTTPS, SSL. We're able to see all of that for exactly who they are. So with the UTQ, the user threat quotient, we're able to identify which of these users for who they are actually very risky users before they become problems. So if need be, you can take some of these reports and send them to HR for analysis. And if need be, the HR could call some of these users to order and inform them that this is what IT has reported that they are doing, and they need to stop, or they will get a query. So if you have blocked some access to some gambling or some porn website, and there's a user who was able to download a VPN application to help them bypass these rules, the XG file will be able to catch this and be able to alert the admin about what the users are doing. So for every user has a threat score. So the higher the threat score, the higher they move up on the risky ranking that is presented to the administrator. And because we're able to identify several unknown applications automatically with our synchronized application control, it helps us identify all of the applications that users are using. And even if there's a new application that just came out today for bypassing firewall rules or application rules, we'll be able to detect this and attach that to the user and classify this kind of user as a risky user that IT needs to address before they become risky on the network. So what are the next steps that you can do to secure your network? We have complete anti-phishing strategies that combine technology, education, and internal processes to help you educate your users and build a strong IT security strategy for your organization. So we can do internal processes to alert users on phishing emails. For example, if you see a phishing email, you don't just keep it. You should forward this. Don't click on links, of course, and don't open attachments. Forward this kind of emails to your IT department, who will then alert everyone else about that. Because if you don't fall victim, like the email you saw at the beginning of this presentation from Central Bank of Nigeria, you don't fall victim of this because you already know that this is a scam, but someone else, your colleague, probably doesn't know. So if you see this kind of email, you forward this kind of email to IT, and IT can inform everyone, to look out for this sender, or IT can block that particular domain from sending emails on the network. So you can also encourage your employees to question unusual requests. For example, someone is on leave and asking you for a favor and saying, keep this kind of request to yourself and not let anyone know about it, because you're trying to do them a favor as your boss. This is an unusual request, and you should be able to question it. What I advise is, pick up the phone and call this person and ask them about the email they sent to you and why you think it's fraudulent. Because it could be that the email has been hacked and someone is sending an email on their behalf. So if you see something that's unusual, pick up the phone and call them. Don't even send an SMS. Pick up the phone and contact them in person and make sure that they're actually the ones sending the emails to you. Now you can also implement two-step internal finance controls so that one person doesn't just create how do I put it now? Create an avenue to send money to anyone. There should be some internal process where there has to be approvals by different personnel. So even if one person has been compromised, the other person will be able to question, the motive behind that kind of transaction. So at Sophos, we are a next generation security provider, and we have attack simulation programs that are relevant and also updated from time to time. For example, recently we've added more ransomware templates to our anti-phishing program that you can also send to your users to test them and to drill them to see which users need further training. We have a centralized endpoint and network solution that talk to one another, which we call synchronized security, to ensure that in the case of a breach, we can isolate infected systems from the rest of the network so that they don't infect the other computers on your network. So you can try our Sophos Central for 30 days just go to sophos.com/central. You can try out email and web protection. You can try out intercept X. You can also try out the phish threat to educate your users. Ha-Shem will be able to help you with this trial. You can contact Ha-Shem, and they can give you a live demonstration, or they can install this for you on your network. It's mostly cloud-based, so for the intercept X and the email protection, you may need to install agents, but for phish threat, there's really nothing to install. They will just have to configure this for you. If you have many users, they can upload users using AD synchronization, and then they can classify users for you and start the initial education, with Ha-Shem. So you can get your free anti-phishing toolkit. You'll be getting more messages from Ha-Shem regarding phishing attacks and how to mitigate them in the coming days. I'll just quickly move to the demo for the phish threat solution to show you how the demo works and what you can get from this tool. And then we'll come back to take your questions. So I'm going to log into Sophos Central. This is what you will get when you contact Ha-Shem and they set up a demo account for you. You will have access to the Sophos Central dashboard, where you can see this is Sophos Central dashboard. So I click on phish threats. Okay, I hope you can see my dashboard now. I'm just holding on so you can all synchronize and see my dashboard. Okay, this is the phish threat dashboard. You can see campaigns, communications, people. So under people, what I've done is I've created about 3 accounts, as you can see. Chooks, Mary, and Samson. They all report to a manager called Demola. So he would see their progress on this phish threat solution. So you can add more people by uploading the email addresses in a CSV format. So you can add the entire people on your organization to this phish threat list so they can receive the communications. And if I go to, this is the dashboard again, if I go to reports and okay, currently this is the phishing campaign that I have set. You can see the report. It shows me how many emails have been sent, how many have been opened, how many people clicked on the emails, how many people have started the trainings, how many have completed the trainings as well. It shows you all of this information. And if you go to phishing templates, you can create a new template. So if you click on create new campaign, you will see phishing campaign, credential harvesting campaign, attachment campaign, and training campaign. So you will decide which of the campaigns you want to create. So let's say, for example, I want to create a phishing campaign. You would see the options available to you. So you can show users, first of all, you pick the training that you want the users to go through. Choose which one you want the users to go through, DLDA, Hyper, PCI, DSS training, and the rest of that. You have all the templates. And then you can go on to choose which attack you want to send to the users. So in this case now, you can see there are several attack templates. You can create your own, and you can use an existing template. So in my case, now I'm going to use one that I think will catch a lot of people. That's the car lights on. So let me look at this attack. I hope everyone can see it. This is a preview which says someone to all employees at Lagos. This is the customer name I used. Someone left their headlights on in the parking lot. An employee took a picture of the car that I've uploaded here. So please check to see if this car is yours, as we don't want anyone leaving work today only to find their battery is dead. This is the kind of catchy caption, you know, that everyone will probably fall for. Especially if you drove to work, you want to be sure that it's not your car, because you really don't want to close at 5 o'clock and then you can't go home because your battery is dead. And you most likely want to click on that link because it's coming from your building manager. So if someone has done their homework and it's actually the email address and the name of your building manager, they're very likely to click on this kind of email. So this is what happens when they click on this kind of email. I'll show you in a little bit how that email comes to the user and then they click on it. In the meantime, let me quickly show you the reports, how you can get your reports. So from here, you can see this reports type. This is what I wanted to show you. Before then, let me just go back and click on that. This is not getting. Okay, so this user was able to get one of the simulated emails, and she's logging in now to click on that email, and we will see what the system will say. So the title comes at car lights left on. So she clicks on it and clicks on the picture of the car. The picture was not uploaded. It was a link to the picture that was given. So as soon as she clicks on this picture, she finds herself on this page. Oh, this is a completed one. Let me try another one. Oops. I should have used this one. Let me try this one. So from this page, you can see users who clicked, users who didn't click, users who failed the trainings, users who have outdated plugins, repeat offenders, users who opened attachments, users who enabled macros, and users that entered their credentials like the email address, the password, and the rest of that. So you can see all of this information from your pre-generated report page. So now I've clicked on the email. And on this dashboard, you can see the details of all of the users, the number of attacks, the average training score, the percentage of passing. You will have to set that one. Average time to complete, number of employees, the last email sent, last training completed. So with this, you'll be able to see in real time which of your users are risky, which one of them need more training, which one of them clicked on the simulated attacks, and which one of them reported those kind of attacks to IT department. So by using phishing threats, you're able to create these campaigns for all of your users, test your users. You can do this drill like every 2 months. Like in my organization, we do it every 3 weeks. You just get a random email from IT, maybe saying you should enter your information on some kind of portal that's not IT related, and then if you click on that link, you will, if you click on it twice, you actually get a query from the HR department. So it's part of the training, it's part of the onboarding process when you join the organization. So it makes everyone security conscious. So if you can educate your users to spot phishing, to spot threats before they become issues on your network, you'll be able to protect your network even much better. And this doesn't exclude anyone. This includes CEOs, CFOs, and CIOs. They also have to be part of the training. They also have to know to not click on those links, to not open attachments from untrusted sources, and they should also know to report this kind of phishing attacks to a specified email address. For example, you could have phishing attacks or attacks at yourdomain.com, and inform every user, or support IT support at yourdomain.com. So inform every user whenever you see something that's fishy or something that looks like it's fake or something suspicious, for this kind of attempts to this email address so that we can analyze this and help you. For example, you can tell your users when they get an email from a bank saying you need your ATM is about to expire, or your BVN was incorrect, we'll delete your account. So click on this to change this, or call this number. They should not. The first thing to do is you have your bank's website. Go straight to your bank's website and log in. If you don't have your login, click on forgot password. They will send you another login. So log into your bank account, and you'll find all your information there. You should not act on information that you receive via SMS or via email from untrusted sources. This is what this user gets after clicking on the email. It says this wasn't a real attack, but it could have been. So in light of this, you need to go through this training. So when the users click on this kind of links, this is in the email, this is what they get from our phish threat solution. So it lets them know that it could have easily been an attack, and by clicking on that link, you could have brought your entire network down. So for that reason, you need to take this training that has been prepared by your IT team. So that's the way our phish threat solution works, and for us, that's the only way we know to prevent social engineering attacks, to prevent breaches, because there's really no tool in this world that can prevent those kind of attacks other than education. So at this point, we would like to take your questions regarding this presentation, and if you have any other contribution you'd like to make, we would like to hear it right now.
Okay, thank you so much for the powerful and very informative session, Mr. Christopher. For some of us that joined late, not to worry. The webinar recording and presentation there could be made available on our Yammer page. So we'll be taking your questions now. Kindly type your questions in the iron.
As my co-moderator just said, we'll be taking your questions now, so we can round up the session. Please type your questions in the IM window, so Christopher can take them one by one. Thank you.
Okay, Abiodun is asking if you can trade CR100 ING for a Sophos one. I think what you can do is you can talk to Ha-Shem. Ha-Shem will help you to upgrade that particular CR100 ING, which runs the CyberRoam operating system, to one that runs a Sophos operating system with this on the same appliance. So you don't need to junk your appliance. You just need to upgrade the operating system on it from CyberRoam to Sophos, and you'll be fine. For Paul, yes, it's easy. Just talk to Ha-Shem. They will help you to migrate from CyberRoam operating system to Sophos operating system. And yes, the training is recorded. Ha-Shem will share this on the Yammer page, and you will have access to it anytime. There are no implications if you don't migrate, but there are many benefits to upgrading. Like the page I just showed you with the user threat quotient and synchronized application control, synchronized security, they're only available on Sophos. They are not available on CyberRoam anymore. So if you upgrade, you'll be getting a lot more features than when you were on CyberRoam. That also includes sandboxing. Sandboxing is currently not available on CyberRoam. It's only on Sophos operating system, and it's free. The upgrade is free. You don't have to pay for upgrading. So you'll upgrade to the operating system. You migrate your licenses from CyberRoam to Sophos, and you'll be fine. The Sophos license is just like the CyberRoam license. There isn't a lot of difference. Not much difference. You migrate your licenses. It's the same licenses. For example, if you were on 50 ING, you'd probably be using XG 105 or 135. So we'll look for the license that matches that and, upgrade you to that. It's the same kind of license. Yeah, so Kumade, you'll have to talk to Ha-Shem. I believe they can work something out for you on that. I'm not seeing questions on the fish thread, so I'm wondering, is it an interesting solution for you? Do you think you can use this to educate your users? Do you think it's important to educate your users with the fish thread solution in light of what you've seen today? Yeah, for Abiodun, the difference is not that significant. Sophos is actually much easier to administer because the GUI, the user interface, has been purpose-built. It's been researched and built to make things easier for the administrator. Like you saw the dashboard. The dashboard is much more advanced and contains much more information in a very short period of time. So you don't have to look around. In just 2 or 3 clicks, you get almost anywhere you're going with on the Sophos XG firewall. Again, I'll put the dashboard up so that you can see once again what it looks like. Okay. Yes, Tokunade, you can add personalized templates. You can add your logos. In fact, you can build templates for Jumia, for Konga. You can customize it. You can localize it to make it look even realer. So if you have, for example, a particular store that supplies you food, for the entire office, you can customize an attack from that kind of store that that a lot of people will fall for and send it to them. So you can personalize the messages you send to them. You can personalize your own personal page for the organization. Yes. Protecting them is very, very important, but their knowledge of phishing is much more important even than protecting them. like we've seen, in this presentation, you saw a case where the CFO asked someone to send money because he was on leave. These are some of the things that you need to educate users about. You know, protecting them is the first line of defense. So educating them should be the first line of defense. The last line of defense should be the protection. So education should actually come first. So, like for example, if someone is going to transfer money from the company account, there is no IT process in place to stop them from doing so. It's an order from above, from the CFO or from the CEO. So there's not much IT can do in terms of preventing, you know, that kind of a social engineering attack. Any more questions? Any more observations? Any more concerns that we can discuss? Well, you discuss that with Ha-Shem. I believe it is. I believe it is, and I believe it's important to have. I think depending on the number of users, they can always work with your budget. With your budget, yes. Slides. Okay. Okay. We want to quickly put up another slide. Just give us a couple of seconds.
Okay, so if there are no further questions, I think we'll be ending the session now. Thank you, Christopher, for the very informative session. It seems like our audience really enjoyed it. Okay, so sorry, I just got cut off. The recording will be made available on our Yammer page, as we said earlier. And seeing as this is going to be our last webinar for the year, we'll be seeing you guys next year, of course, hopefully. So thank you all for staying with us. We'll be taking a poll very soon after this for every one of you to rate us based on our sessions during this year, over the course of the year, and what you'd like, your feedback basically on what you'd be expecting from us next year. So please endeavor to take the poll. From the Ha-Shem team, we're wishing you all happy holidays, and we hope you really enjoyed this session. Like I said, the recording and presentation deck will be made available on our Yammer page. So please look out for our email sending the links. Okay, thank you all. And we apologize for the delay earlier. We're really sorry about that. We'll definitely work on it next year. We look forward to seeing all of you next year. Thank you all. Bye. Hello, before we leave, please take the poll. I can see just one respondent. Yes, please, let's take the poll. It's all for your benefit, basically. Thank you. Please, let's do that before we leave. So for those of us still online, please let's take the poll. We've moved to another page. Please, we need your feedback. Thank you. Thank you. We're still waiting. Thank you.